Hi, everyone, and welcome to another USI Tech Talk. Today, we're lucky to have Mike Gaber from Cortec with us. He's worked with Cortec in the corrosion control industry for more than 30 years, currently serving as a regional manager and now vice president of sales for North America, and recently the strategic growth director. You're managing the growing Mexico market, as well as regions including Michigan and Minnesota. You're a graduate of the Ohio State University. You never expected to have a career in rust prevention, but right out of all of us who expected to be in this industry, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
thank you for being here, Mike, and take it away.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and appreciate everyone giving us a short time. I like these short windows, right? So it's not too much of your day, and then you can all shoot off to lunch here. I was telling Chris I'm spending the week traveling in Mexico for work, which I do at least probably 2 weeks a month, and then spend the rest of the time in North America location. So we want to talk a little bit, try to really simplify this and kind of get to the heart of what I'm trying to describe to everyone today. So, quick introduction on Cortec if you're not familiar with us, but we're a specialty chemical manufacturer founded in 1977, headquartered in St. Paul, Minnesota. Um, we are vertically integrated manufacturer as well of vapor phase corrosion inhibitors and migrating corrosion inhibitors and derivative technologies. And we'll talk briefly about how those technologies work. Very quality driven, ISO 9001. We got our 14001 environmental certification back in the mid 90s. And frankly, when I used to tell people about that, they just gave me the deer in headlights, right? Didn't even understand really what that was. So sustainability, environmental has been a huge part of our culture for a very long time. And we also have an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. So if we do testing for customers or validations, that we're able to provide those often as an independent lab, even though it's within our organization. It's a real strength, I believe, that we have. So we have 5 U.S. production facilities and 5 international facilities, including Canada, Europe, and Southeast Asia. So our core manufacturing are products that remove, prevent, and reduce rusting of metals and corrosion. So we're talking more than 500 products today, more than 60 patents, and as we mentioned, a real focus on the environment and environmentally and sustainable technologies. Um, Global reach in more than 100 countries. If you want to kick to the next slide, Chris. Just a little picture of where we are, but 109 countries around the world. We sell through distributors like USI all around the world globally. We prefer not to have direct business relationships with the end customer. Our focus is to support those distributors, many of which have gone through a lot of technical training, but our job is to work hand in hand with them in the field at the end customer to make sure we're delivering the best solution to meet the goals. Um, yeah, so really, just about anywhere industrialized. I think a really good example of how we can react from a global standpoint. A company like Caterpillar, we're part of their approved supplier network for corrosion engineering, and we have an obligation to be on site anywhere globally within 48 hours when they have a corrosion event. And I got to say, it's one of the fun parts of our job is when there's something going on somewhere else in the world, a few clicks with a mouse and a couple of emails or texts, and the next day I've got somebody in India at the plant. It's a real powerful thing and something that we can certainly provide to any of you. Go ahead, next slide. So quick little review on how vapor phase corrosion inhibitors work. So I think this is a pretty good diagram to help people understand it. I'll get, kind of confusion or people say, oh, it absorbs moisture. It does not absorb moisture. Absolutely the opposite. Our technology is designed to work in the presence of moisture. So we don't have to control moisture. Traditional methods, I still see some of those. Actually, I was at a customer this week in Mexico that's still using like foil barrier bags with desiccant. And while that can be effective, if you get a pinhole in your foil bag or the desiccants reach their saturation point, we no longer have good corrosion protection. So the way the technology works is a polarized molecule. So water is also a polarized molecule. It's got a plus and a negative end that are attracted to the metal surface, much like a magnet. The difference with our technology is the affinity or the strength of that attraction of a VPCI molecule is about 1,000 times stronger than water. And so when we introduce our technology into a system, it seeks out that metal surface, creates a bond there. In its purest form, with just vapor inhibitor, which would be like your packaging applications, it's going to dissipate and float away into the air when you open up that package. The small end of the molecule is attracted to metal. The large end is hydrophobic. So we have seen many times over the years where a customer has done preservation of their assets with Cortec, and they call us up in a panic and say, wait, I can see water inside. And we kind of calm them down and say, hey, do you see rust? And usually the answer is no. And we're like, that's okay. We expect cycling condensation, huge temperature swings, and then we can custom design our applications for indoor, outdoor, export shipping, and things like that. Next slide. So just another visual. We use this one to help people understand the technology, but the bottle on the left has a piece of steel wool that is half submerged in water with a few drops of vapor phase corrosion inhibitor that's designed as particularly a water-based system. And we use this because steel wool, one, rusts very fast. The bottle on the right is just straight water. We usually see that water start to turn orange in about 20 minutes. The bottle on the left, it demonstrates that the vapor phase inhibitor will work even in direct presence of water at the interface and in the airspace. And I've carried bottles around like this over the years, and sometimes they're 10, 15, 20 years old. And because we keep that bottle sealed, the corrosion inhibitor can't get out. It's still effective for a long period of time. Next slide. So this is what I want to talk about today. And this is kind of the cool part, doing this for 30 years. When we did preservation, when I first started, it was often, use this while you're preserving it, but we got to clean it out and remove it after the fact, right? So let's like, I think, like a gearbox is a really good example, right? We would put maybe an oil with a vapor phase corrosion inhibitor inside the gearbox, but the oil itself wasn't operationally compatible. And so for the customer at the end of their process or their storage time would take that gearbox and want to put it back into service, they got to really do a good job of draining out that vapor phase corrosion inhibiting oil and replacing it with the operational oils. And so that is kind of an example of where we are today. Things like covering things with grease or using nitrogen blankets, tarps, WD-40. That's what my grandfather did, right? Spray it down with WD-40, not a great corrosion inhibitor. But these kind of traditional methods can work, but they have downstream complications and create work for the customer on the backside. And so our technologies are designed to be more compatible with the assets and reduce and eliminate the cleanup, removable, so that you can get your products back into service very quickly. So matching the preservation with the application. So let's talk about internal spaces, air applications, flow paths and turbines, exhaust systems and diesel engines, compressors, tanks that are going to hold air or compressed air. In the past, these would have probably been treated with an oil-based type of product or a temporary coating. Today, Cortec offers products, and I'm just going to mention the products, right? No one wants to listen to 500 different product descriptions, but we have a water-based fogging product now, or we have for a long time. It's been proven out. The number happens to be 337. And if you have an air-based system, let's talk about like an exhaust system for a diesel engine, is you can fog this inside of the exhaust system, cap the ends up, and you've got corrosion protection for potentially years. Traditionally, diesel engine exhaust systems, somebody would have fogged a VCI oil inside the exhaust system. Certainly can be effective, but when your customer fires that engine up for the first time, they're going to get a big black plume of oil that's burning off. And so matching the technology to the application is really important. Oil-based systems. So with things like gearboxes or engine internals, now we have products that are designed to be operationally compatible. So we either don't have to remove or don't have to worry about removing it. And in some cases, we're actually adding our technology to like test stand oil so that while you're testing out a gearbox or an engine, you're also getting the corrosion inhibitor that works both in the contact and the vapor stage inside that engine. When you're done, you ship that thing out, it's got rust prevention. And it works kind of like that steel wool in bottles, right? We've got great corrosion protection in the liquid stage. And as that oil sloughs down off the sides and settles in the bottom, the vapor inhibitor takes over and provides great corrosion protection there. So same with fuel. So we have products that are designed to be combustible with diesel and traditional fuels that have that vapor phase component. You might have to put in a large, 50-gallon tank, a pint or even a cup of our technology to protect it until it's put into use. And I think some of the best technologies that we're really seeing growth with our markets are in water-based applications, so coolant passages. So whether you're testing a chiller unit that's going into a data center or trying to provide corrosion protection for that data center with their operational water systems, we have developed amazing technologies for water-based systems. Frankly, it's been one of the opportunities where I've gotten to go to a lot of customers and say, I've got something that works at a third of the dosage, but provides twice the protection. So way better and cheaper. And I think if any of us are out there kind of promoting technology, there's not a lot of times in our careers where we have something that costs significantly less and works significantly better. So like our 649 series of products are designed for water-based applications. I'm going to jump back to diesel engines on that. We have implemented this technology in engine testing globally for companies like Caterpillar, John Deere. Cummins is trialing it. So there's some great applications and a lot of history. And then we also do things for cooling towers and the things that would be more traditionally thought of in the water treatment side. So we're matching the preservation to the internal space so that we don't have to do something on the back end and worry about, oops, what if they forgot to do that? And I think that that's one of the real advances that we're seeing in our preservation technology, over the last dozen or so years. When we get to externals, right? So we take care of the internal first. We make sure that's all taken care of. And then we have to talk about the externals, unpainted surfaces, things that are susceptible to corrosion. We certainly want to understand, like, where is it going to be stored? Indoors, outdoors? Is it going to be shipped overseas? How long? And we work with each individual customer to make sure we plan things out. But that's where like VPCI packaging, and I think I've got a photo after this slide, removable or temporary coatings or permanent coatings with vapor phase corrosion technologies would come into play. So if you go to the next slide, I think it's got just a picture of packaging. So just a couple of examples here. Obviously, some kind of a gearing journal on the left. This might have both vapor phase corrosion inhibiting packaging. It could also have like a light duty or secondary surface applied technology, depending on the environment and what we're going to see. The part on the right is going into like some kind of a loader equipment, ground engaging equipment, wrapped up in plastic that contains the vapor phase inhibitors. The beauty of we mentioned when those technologies release off the surface. So when you take it out, it's clean, it can be dry, it can be put immediately into use, doesn't affect weldability and additional processes. So I think that now with asset preservation, we have programs that can be just really easy to apply, implement, and very cost effective. Next slide. There you go. That's me. I've got my contact information on there. That's a nice chub salmon. That was a long time ago up in Alaska. But I have a lot of fun doing what I do. I'm passionate about it. If you guys have any questions, we got maybe a minute left, so I'd certainly open it up.
Yeah, let me stop sharing so I can see a little better. Feel free to chat in questions. I'm going to open mics here. You can also turn on your mic and ask it out loud. Definitely love it when people, engage and we get some of those really juicy, questions that are kind of difficult in the field.
And it's okay if you don't have questions too. You probably need to get your taxes submitted today. So my daughter in Chicago actually had to mail hers in, and she had to look up how do you address and stamp an envelope. So it's a busy day for all of us. But Chris, I appreciate you having me in. If there's other questions, certainly reach out to the USI group. They know a lot about our technology, and they've got a great support system in Cortec and our global people to help them out with any questions.
Yep. And you guys can reach us at either cs@usigroups.com. That's me directly. Or you can call us at 248-735-7000. You'll get one of our technical experts here. Thank you again, Mike. This was fantastic.
Yeah, appreciate it, everyone. Great to have you. Enjoy the day.
Have a great
Thanks,
one,
Mike.
everybody.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
right.
Mike.